Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and today the day has finally come that we are going to pick up our future, or actually, current McLaren 600LT taxi. In case you don't know, we run a very broad company, but one of the aspects of it at the Nürburgring is actually offering taxi rides, and this is going to be probably the main taxi.
This is our main taxi. This is our fast taxi, we consider it. This is our quick taxi. This is the I guess higher model, two-seater, and
yeah, supercar, 200, well, maybe even near hypercar performance on the track, 299 euros for a lap of the Nürburgring Nordschleife. More on that later on, or any other videos. That's just in case you are new to this channel. What are we going to do today? We're going to talk a bit about spec, but not too much, because we prefer to actually drive the cars and talk how they drive and why they drive. But still, spec is important because it's a McLaren, it's an MSO, it's Curacao Blue, so take it away, Robert. What about it?
This is, like Misha said, a Curacao Blue 600LT. This is what we basically spec'd to be our taxi for the 2019 season. Who knows, maybe even the 2020 season. We'll just see what we decide to go with. But the goal here was to get a color that looks beautiful. The 675LT Spider is Mexico Blue, which is a little bit darker blue, not much. But it's just a little bit darker blue. And my goal was to go with something a little bit lighter, that when the sun would shine on it, you'd get just a little bit softer feel to it, but will really pop once we put the orange Apex taxi stickers on, which we've designed everything to match the McLaren orange brakes and LT logos and everything that we picked out. So the idea is a clean, simple car, which is kind of hard to say for this, you know what I mean? It's to have a clean build, a clean design. The same concept will go with our graphics, that we don't want to go over the top. We don't want to be in your face, but we want it to be a nice, classy look.
I must immediately say you didn't go over the top with carbon fiber.
No, my belief with the 600 and the 570 program is that you go with this gray paint everywhere, and that fits this series of car, in my opinion. It's a very good look, a very clean look. You don't need to go over the top with the carbon fiber because it gives a wonderful contrast between the blue and the gray paint. And at the end of the day, this is going to be used as a taxi. Mm-hmm. On a McLaren, you can very quickly rack up the price when you go with carbon fiber. And when you get about 3 meters away from the car, you won't know if this is carbon fiber or if it's gray paint, right? And so on the 570, did this exact same thing. We went with gray paint everywhere on the exterior. The only thing that is carbon on the exterior of this car is the MSO fender louvers that you can see right here. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's the only thing that actually has carbon fiber on the outside. On the inside, we have the carbon fiber seats. We have carbon dash inserts. We have different things like that. But that's because on the inside of the car, it's where you see it. It's where you feel it. And I do believe that that's the one place where you can, get away with it.
Mm-hmm. Now, going back to a couple of things of the spec, people who have seen this car already and who know your other collection of cars going to the 675LT, it has a roof scoop, but this one doesn't. Why?
I think you have to have there's 2 points, okay, and they both kind of go hand in hand and weigh into the decision of not taking it for this car. If you look at the pictures of this car with the roof scoop, it looks really cool the way that it comes up a little bit further back than it does, and it's a really, really cool roof scoop. But at the end of the day, if you watch the video that's coming out, it'll actually be released today for us about the cost of a taxi. When you talk about adding on carbon fiber exterior, roof scoops and things like that, you do take it just a little bit too far. The other thing was when we were discussing doing the roof scoop, we had time constraints. Now this car was delivered here in November and we're picking it up in February. We just didn't have a ton of time pressure to get it out and take the car. But there were questions of, if we took a roof scoop, will it be here for the opening day, which is I think 18 March. And so in order to make sure that the car would be ready for the opening day, we said let's take it without the roof scoop first of all. And second of all, it's a better financial decision to go no roof scoop because we are not going to sell laps because the car has a roof scoop.
Because the option is 38,000?
Something like that. So we'd have to sell, to be honest with you, 150 laps that we wouldn't have sold because the car has a roof scoop. And there's no performance difference with the roof scoop. A little bit of sound. I've always said that in the 675LT, the car is just made by that sound of the roof scoop. Anyone that's ridden it knows it sounds fantastic. But what the 675LT doesn't have that this does is exhausts coming out the rear deck that you're going to be able to hear from inside the cabin, et cetera, et cetera. With this car right here, the idea is to do something striking, but still keep it simple, and obviously make a good business case out of it still.
Now, one more thing regarding the spec, it has the so-called famous Senna seats.
Yes.
And I noticed that it's actually pretty difficult to get in and out. If you're talking about volume as a taxi, you need to get passengers in and out.
A couple things with this. I mean, once you're used to it, you can get in, you know, not too bad. But the simple reality is,
the thing is, by getting in, you already went past the carbon fiber piece.
You went past the carbon fiber.
So if you're going to have 1,000 laps, it's going to get destroyed.
I know that some people may not, you know, like it if I take the seats out, but I had contemplated taking these seats out. What we're going to do is run it for the first couple weeks, see how easy it is getting people in and out. If it's too difficult, we have the other set of carbon shell seats that we will go ahead and swap these for.
So long story short, if you want to experience those seats, make sure to come
Book
the first
early.
couple of weeks.
Why don't you get in? Let's go for a ride.
Yeah, we should. Just one more thing I wanted to ask is actually what are the plans for exterior in terms of livery and like some contrast?
Again, like I said, the idea is that we want to go as simple as possible. We want to go with the nice McLaren orange logos. On the doors, we want to put Apex Taxi logo, something simple on the bonnet, and really that's about the extent of it. You know, obviously the normal sun stripe up here, but the goal is to be as simple as possible, to keep it clean and keep it looking good.
Okay, well, would you mind giving us a cold start before I get in?
Why not? Yeah, so inside we have everyone, you know, you call them the Senna seats, but they're the lightweight seats, and then we've got the 6-point harnesses with the harness bar. Today's actually my first day seeing the car, let alone driving it.
It sounds surprisingly similar to 675LT.
Yeah, it does.
Now, obviously, we're not going to use launch control when the engine only has 22 kilometers on it.
So this is a car that I think people are going to really enjoy. So far, it has a lot of similarities that I've noticed to the 675LT. One thing that I'm excited about is to see the performance of it on the track. A lot of people, or I've seen maybe 3 or 4 people comment asking if this is going to be a downgrade in performance compared to the 720. And honestly, I don't think so. We've kind of rolled on the throttle a little bit, and when you jump on it, it's fast. And when you're talking about from corner to corner feel from the passenger seat, you're not going to actually be able to tell a difference in speed between this and the 720. This car is very, very quick. But what you will get is you're going to get a more raw feel from this car. It's less insulation, no carpet, you're sitting right on the carbon tub. Nice sound, very
Nice
cool.
sound of the exhaust. That's what 720 was missing.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun car.
It is.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It's so much more exciting. After having multiple laps in the 720, I can say that this is completely other level.
This is awesome.
Experience-wise, wow. Acceleration, the same. Maybe probably even, well...
I'd say about the same. It's really hard to tell the difference. What I will say is when this car was first uncovered today was the first time I saw it, and I said, you know, I don't want to use it as a taxi. I want to just keep it. It looks that good. I mean, right now it sounds that good. To be honest with you, right now inside when you're at between 7,000 and 8,000 RPM, I think it sounds better than the 675LT inside.
Yeah.
Pops and bangs are awesome. See how the nav works?
Yeah, if they improved it. Looks a bit more responsive, but then quality of the screen is better.
Yeah, it's nice.
But the system is still the same, the app.
720S brakes for sure. Unbelievably well, huh?
Yeah.
It brakes unbelievable.
It brakes better, I would say.
It might be, but
Just
it
less
stops.
weight.
Yeah.
Oh, the sound is great.
Yeah. This is going to be a really fun car.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing I want to do is get a camera out the back for the people that book the lap videos, you know, and have a camera out the back and
Shooting flames.
maybe take an evening lap and you might see some flames. What's up, Audi?
to fully enjoy it. And again, we only enjoy our cars on the track mostly.
Yeah, I think this is nice just to get a little feel for it, get a little preview. The acoustics inside the car, the tone is awesome. This is going to be an absolutely phenomenal car on the track. I'm really excited about it. Now the track can't just open soon enough at this point.
Especially with this weather. All of a sudden, the idea of having the track open the whole year round is not that bad.
It's 10 degrees outside, sun shining. It's pretty cool when you're driving and you look in the rearview mirror and everything behind you is just in waves because the exhaust goes right up the center of the rearview mirror. So when you're driving, basically you see all the heat coming out of the exhaust. The driving position is so much better too. The way you're sitting here. I mean, the thing to keep in mind about the 720S is that it's a GT car. You know, we say it's a GT car, but it's designed for driving on the road. The LT versions are always the cars that McLaren built with this track performance in mind. But the way the steering wheel is, where your body is, the way you sit in the seats, this car just is going to be absolute madness on the track. I'm really excited for it.
McDonald's, yes. All right, that was already, and that's why we should probably get different seats.
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
But no, it was already exciting after having ridden as a passenger and driven a couple of times also the 675 or the 720. It's very similar to 675 LT.
It is.
And it is your favorite car, the 675.
Yeah.
So this might actually kick it off.
Yeah, I told Misha when we were driving off camera, I said, you know what? That's badass, huh?
Yeah. Those heats have definitely more sides.
Oh, they're so awesome, aren't they?
Yeah.
From a driver's perspective, I'll be honest with you, I would sell my 675 for one of these. My orange one.
Yeah.
Yep. You do this exhaust note with the roof scoop, fuck.
Yeah.
This is nice. This is really going to be special taxi. I told Misha when we were driving off camera, I said, you know what, this is something. You know, this is a car that I might even consider changing my 675 LT out for.
So maybe 675 LT taxi incoming, because that's going to be his private car then. Who knows?
No, I mean this model. I mean, you know, this is bought as a taxi. So who knows? Maybe if I drive this enough, from what I feel already from the test drive, maybe I get another one of these and use it for my car. We'll see. I liked it
with
that
a scoop.
I liked it that much. Yeah, it's really, this is cool, and this is a car that the passenger is going to get in and they feel connected to. And you're going to get a lot of emotion from this car. The idea behind the 570 program, to be blunt, was to compete with the GT3 market. Yeah. Then the 600LT is to compete with the GT3 RS market. And as you know, I've done many laps in our GT3 RS. This car right here, you can forget it. This is the car I would take every single time. Every single time. Just from what I've driven right now, the emotion inside the car, the feel, the feedback. This car is unbelievable. Yeah. Very cool.
I can absolutely confirm, and like I said, I think one of the main questions, and I'll be honest, actually, we had questions ourselves the first time when we saw the car, like, would the public actually want it? And when they compare it to 720S, then we would have the comments, people saying, oh no, it's a downgrade because it's a lesser number.
When you see this car in the car park and you walk around this thing, there's no comparison.
No, absolutely, but also experience-wise, zero comparison. Like we said, it was, the 720S is originally built as a GT driver, a casual, because you made it your daily driver now.
Yeah, it's a daily driver.
And it drives as a daily car. It's nice and easy.
And it's nice and pleasant. Everything works. The technology is wonderful in it. But this right here, this is a race car. Yeah. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, well, we can keep on talking for many hours, but there'll be plenty of also track content, but most importantly, make sure to get a seat, because I'm pretty sure they're going to be sold out.
The worst thing is I feel bad for Tim and Moritz because I'm driving this.
Okay, so E-mode, fully electric, environmental friendly. Oh.
Oh my god, that was mad.